So now you're in regular Serbian prison.
Straight up.
And just gen pop?
No, the first couple days they put you in like an observation cell. So I went in there and the toilet was just a hole in the floor and like there's bed bugs. I mean, it's fucking shitty. There's a guy already on the first rack. I get in the second rack and, wake up. The guy starts speaking to me in Serbian. I'm like, no. He's like, American? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing here? Where's the embassy? Like, this is crazy.
You started speaking English?
Yeah, he did. He knew some, and I'm like, yeah, you're fucking telling me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the doldrums, just laying there, not knowing what's going on. Food, the way they do food, when we first got there, they give you a wool blanket, a bowl, and a spoon, and they just walk by with this big trolley and this like 5-gallon metal bucket and a ladle, and whatever color juice they put in your bowl, then they give you some bread. That's it for lunch, and then like for dinner, it's like one hot dog. So that went on for 4 or 5 days. My roommate was getting kind of stir crazy. He's like, he's a career criminal. So he's like, you get 2 days in here, and then after that, you get to go in a regular room with walks and all this shit. And I was like, okay. Then he was like getting like really fucking amped up. I'm like, dude, I don't want to have to put hands on this guy. If I do that, like, it's going to look worse. And it couldn't have came soon enough. The guards were like, get escorted all the way around the prison, this giant maze of stairs and hallways.
Are you walking by Serbian prisoners? Like, like out of a movie?
Oh, yeah.
They're whistling and yelling at you and shit?
No.
No? Really?
So Serbia is a pretty homogeneous country. A bunch of Serbs, bunch of Orthodox Serbs, and then you have like some other nationalities. But for the most part, it's like 90% the same type of people, right? So there's not like these gangs and that gangs and that gangs. It's pretty much like we're in this together.
Yeah.
Was the vibe I got after. So I go into my first room, and my room way nicer. Bunk beds are cleaner. There's a little TV on, and everyone's like looking at me like, "What? Who is this guy?" And they're like trying to talk to me. And there's like one kid in there that speaks English a little bit, and I'm like, "Fuck, dude, got to be the gray man, but I also got to be ready to like stab somebody." Right? 'Cause I've seen the movies, right?
Yeah.
And this one young kid gets up on the window and he's like yelling, blah, 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 American, because the window looked at the courtyard, and he's like the herald of the news. And I was like, hey, man, like, I'm trying to like be quiet, like low key. And he just laughs, changes the channel. Daniel Corbett, SEAL, arrested, just ticker on the bottom over and over and over again. I was like, well, there goes the whole gray man thing.
Shit, man.
Yeah, and that room I had for that first month was a dude who murdered his wife with a hammer, some guy who was a professional gypsy kidnapper, and then this Croatian terrorist kid. And because I was in this special room, we only got 30-minute walks and not 2-hour walks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were with 3 other dudes in a room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Two-man bunk beds?
Yep.
Did any of them speak English?
That one Croatian kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So were you communicating through him to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, there's like a million fucking questions stemming from all this before we go any further. So I guess first off, I'm assuming that your associate, the guys that said hello through the attorney, that was your company?
Yep.
Like at that point, they knew you had gotten rolled up, and were they working back channels trying to? Yeah,
everyone was trying to see what was going on and what happened. Yeah.
Did the U.S. government get involved at all?
They tried. So fast forward. I mean, I'll get to that.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can tackle that, I guess, when it gets to it. But at that point, there had been no correspondence from anybody.
None.
And you hadn't talked to anybody from back home. There's no phone call. There's no nothing.
Nope.
Yeah. It's got to be a pretty nerve-wracking experience, because at this point, it's like a month and a half, right?
Yeah.
Food-wise, I ask everybody about the food. Sometimes people give me shit. I love food. I'd go fucking nuts eating. Was that the standard?
This is how food works there. I'm going to start with lunch, and you'll see why. Pull out your bowl. You either have a yellow, brown, red, or green soup. They say it's pea soup or bean soup, but there's never any peas or beans in there. It's just hot, colored water, right?
With no flavor?
None.
Yeah.
So you get your bowl of soup, and they give you a huge loaf of bread. Right? Well, that loaf of bread is supposed to last you until lunch tomorrow. And then at night, they'll give you like 2 little plastic wrapped hot dogs. And then for breakfast, they'll just come around with a 5-gallon bucket of jam and just ladle it into your bowl. So now you have this jam and bread.
Wow.
Yeah. And you just repeat the process over and over again.
How much weight did you lose?
Like 7 pounds.
Really?
Well, I don't eat that much anyways. Yeah. But I also had money to go to the cantina on Wednesdays and Fridays and buy a bunch of tuna fish, peanuts, whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Well, how did you access that? You had money with you?
No, people put money in under
like
for your
commissary thing.
Yeah.
Was it your company or family or what?
Everybody.
Man, that's fucking wild. With the other 3 inmates that you were in a cell with, were there ever any issues between?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
They were all taking like some sort of drugs that the prison was more than happy to give anybody. It's like pinks, blues, yellows, whites.
Really?
I didn't know what they were, but I'm like, no, thank you. And they would just take their drugs, sleep all day, and stay up all night listening to their pop music and playing dice and like writing their fucking manifestos and giving each other tattoos with the razor blade and pen ink. You know, like, oh, they called me Foca, which is the word for the animal seal in Serbian. They didn't understand it was an acronym, so I was called Foca. So they're like, Foca, you need blood. I'm like, no.
Hepatitis? No thanks.
So he kept falling asleep with the TV on and the radio he had clipped under the spring under my bed. And I'm like, dude, it was like 3 a.m. I just grabbed his radio and I spiked it. Boom. And apparently it took him like 5 months to get that approved.
Oh, wow. so he was happy about that.
So they moved me out of the room.
Oh, no shit. They did or the guards did?
The guards did.
Yeah.
Like,
he was ready to fucking...
No, I would have fucking murdered him, but they were like, you don't deserve to not only have 30-minute walks. They've been observing me for almost 2 months now, and they're like, this guy's fucking normal.
Yeah.
And like the charges against him don't even exist yet. So they put me in a room that had way better room. They had a professional state-sponsored hitman, a junkie, and an Australian cocaine dealer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before you got moved into there, in that same or in the prior room, you had those issues with them, but were there ever any physical altercations, arguing, uncomfortableness? Like, to me, it would be hard to sleep.
Right away, the guy who murdered his wife with a hammer was like, hey, I have something for you. I was like, okay. And then I was sitting and he's walking behind me. I was sitting at the little table we had, and like he pulls out this pen, but the pen where the ballpoint would be, it's taken out and there's a razor blade melted into it, like a little sheath. And I was like, I stood up, and then he reached into his little organizer thing and pulled out a box of cookies and cut the cellophane. He's like, whoa. And that's when I kind of learned, like, everyone here is standing trial and doesn't want to do anything crazy
to make it worse,
look bad in court.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of put your spidey senses down a little bit once you realized.
I mean, the dude did kill his wife with a hammer, so I was kind of like,
allegedly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, when you go into a bar and there's a dude sizing you up and you guys are kind of trying to figure out if you like each other or not or hate each other, there's so much nonverbal
cues.
Communication. Yeah. How self-aware were you of putting off that vibe, like, dude, I will fuck you up at first?
I was, but I didn't have to.
Really?
Because the news has said I was there to kill the president. Come to find out, everybody in there, guess who they hate?
President.
Now guess who they love? Me.
Oh, I gotcha. So they're all
like,
this dude's a hero.
I was like revered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's fucking wild.
It was wild. I was getting like salutes from prison guards. I was like, what?
Wow, like everybody hated him.
Everyone.
Wow.
Everyone.
Damn.